Take away Pain User.
All right, here we go. The map is going to be Shattered Temple. Like you said, it's a PvP. Our first player is going to be Vile.State, spawning in the top position as our red Protoss, and his opponent, ZeNEX.Yang is going to be the purple Protoss on the right-hand spawn. Close by air, and yeah, I mean, on this map, PvP is pretty interesting. You can, I've seen a lot of base trades on this map in PvP, actually, oddly enough. Yeah.
Oh, with the Dark Templars, because I've seen a couple of my own where it just got down to some dirty Dark Templar harass, getting inside certain bases, and then just, like you said, a race to the finish. Protoss versus Protoss typically has a lot of base trades, interestingly enough.
I mean, it's just a crazy matchup. It's generally quick, doesn't always reach the expand phase. Some players do try and expand and eke out a little advantage, but I mean, as a whole, I think the matchup is just pretty unrefined right now. There's not a lot of variance going on. It's just a micro battle, and you try and eke out small army advantages. Where to use chrono boosts, how to manage your money, try and just get that one warping advantage where you have 2 to 3 more units, and then you want to push your opponent and try and pick off a unit. And then you see this kind of snowball effect in PvP where whoever starts to win the micro war initially kind of just tends to win it throughout the game. It's pretty frustrating to watch because I feel like there's not a lot of room for comebacks in PvP. It's very difficult.
Well, it certainly takes a lot of effort to come back if you're already down a couple of stocks. You need a certain amount of it coming down to the other player who may be already ahead, making a mistake and letting you back in the game. We'll see what happens here. State is going to be at the top left. Yang is on the bottom right, and it looks like both scouting probes have just crossed each other, with State opting to take the tower for a moment right there, and State now throwing down the floor, but identical builds for both players here, and it actually looks like Yang is saving up Chrono Boost energy, so he will probably be looking to get his Warp Gate out as quickly as possible here.
Yeah, and State's not saving any Chrono Boost energy, or did he just use one?
Actually, is saving up the behind, it seems like at 37, whereas ZeNEX has got an extra Chrono Boost.
Okay, so he used an extra Chrono Boost for a few more probes, it looks like. Okay, so yeah, he's ahead by that. Now we have State just lost his scouting probe there. He'll never live to see another day.
And yeah, man. We'll see if State decides to send in another probe. Sometimes when a Protoss player loses their probe, they still want to get in there just to figure out what's going on. Looks like Yang here will be throwing down second and a third gateway. Very likely here we could see a 4-gate. State is sticking with 2 gates for now, and he could go right into a robotics facility. A lot of Protoss players opt to hold off 4-gate aggression with 2 or 3-gate robo. And we'll see if State decides to do just that.
Yeah, we'll have to see. He is saving up quite a bit of gas here, so I can only imagine that he's going to show us his hand in terms of tech very shortly here.
Could be a Twilight as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a possibility too. He is getting a sentry now, so some of that gas is being put to use. We do have an offensive pylon coming up here for Yang going on the offensive 2 pylons for him, actually, but State winning out the micro war here early on just a little bit. Needs to get that probe, but he does. Start to work down these pylons if he takes out this Zealot here, and I think that'll put him in a pretty good spot. But the pylon finishes, as do the 4 warp gates.
Isn't ready yet.
Not quite. It's going to be close here. I think he's going to be able to warp units in on the high ground now.
We'll have to see. The first pylon is being worked down right now. Here goes the second pylon. Warp gates are coming online.
He's not attacking it with the Stalker. The second Stalker wasn't attacking it.
Oh, and he's going to get the warp in on time.
Oh, wow.
Wow. State's in some trouble right now because he's got to use his force fields. He's got 3 sentries, so he can hold this off for a pretty long time.
Yeah, he does have quite a few sentries. He's going to be able to delay this rush for quite some time. And then also, might actually get that Zealot. That was pretty close. And then also, just buy time to warp in additional Stalkers. So yes, he's working off of 2 now freshly turned into warp gates. But I think that he'll be okay here. He has enough time. And look at that, force fielding at the very bottom of the ramp so that the Zealot can't peek up and get sight of the high ground.
That's very smart.
Just ensuring that he's 100% safe.
He's going into Twilight Council, and I don't think there's any doubt in our minds now that he's going to go right into Blink, as he's got some of these stalkers, you know, already on the field. So it makes a lot of sense to upgrade what units you've already got. And State here pushing out a little bit. Very courageous of him, and I like the play. You know, he realized there's no one at the front. Why not push out and peek a little bit and see what's going on? Now he's going to pull back. And he certainly does. Robotics up.
Yeah, now State's sitting pretty there. He picks off another stalker.
Not bad.
He's got the 3 sentries. He's well ahead on supply right now. I think State is once again in a great spot here. He's just doing a brilliant job in these first 2 games, just reading his opponent, staying calm, making the right decisions. And right now I feel like he's ahead in this game, certainly. Maybe a little behind on tech, but he's getting a Twilight of his own, and then he'll follow that up with Blink of his own, I'm sure. And then he's going to be ahead on tech, and he's going to be ahead on supply still, and they'll be even. You know, they'll be even in terms of Blink.
It is important to note here, as State's observer comes in, that he doesn't have a robotics of his own, which means he won't be able to use his Blink aggressively to bypass the ramp.
Yeah, State could totally drop a Dark Templar Shrine right now if he wanted to, because he's seen Yang E's base. Oh, there we go. Before he that robo. Because he needs an observer.
I agree.
Otherwise, he could just drop State could just drop a Dark Templar Shrine and just go in there.
Yeah.
So he knows he doesn't have a robo.
Yeah, good point right there. And on top of that, as I was saying before, if Yang can get an obs out, then he can Blink into the main. If
Very true.
Wanted to do so. And at this point, it looks like things have stabilized a little bit. On one base per person, force field goes down right there. Nice force field. But things have certainly seemed to stabilize at this point in this game.
Yeah, they have. I mean, State's not really taking any risks. He's kind of just hanging out back at his base and just staying there and waiting for Yang to make some sort of an attack or make a mistake, catch him with a force field, pick off a few units, but State's really not venturing out beyond the safety of his base and the safety of the ramp.
Right, absolutely. Let's see what State is going to do now, as it looks like he's getting a Warp Prism on the way here. You know, we might see him, obviously we're going to see him drop into the main using it as a harass type unit, but we'll see how this plays out as Yang as moving around the map right now. But really, I like this Warp Prism play. What do you think we're going to see with it, and how effective do you think it's going to be?
Well, I mean, the Warp Prism just gives him the potential to hit multiple places at the same time. He can pressure the front, and he can Warp Zealots into the back, or he can, you know, engage out in the midfield here. They can get into some sort of a Blink war, and then he can be harassing the mineral line at the same time with a few Zealots. That's exactly what he's going to do. He catches Yang E off guard here. He forces the Blink, and he's going to pick off a ton of Stalkers here. State just making all the right moves here in the mid-game. Blinks once again, almost picks off another Stalker, and there we have the Warp Prism harass prepared and ready now, going into the main.
Yeah, this is great. Like you said before, a two-pronged attack, one at the front and one at the back. Yang is going to have to split his forces. He doesn't have any sentries. He can't force field the ramp, and those units are now inside the main. This could be very, very tough for Yang.
Yeah, Yang is in a lot of trouble here. He's trying to micro his way out of this. He is picking off quite a few Zealots, and then Blinks under to get the position there on the Warp Prism, but he's in such a bad position now to engage State's main army, which is up the ramp, has position on his main here. And it looks like State's just going to go for the kill 100%. I think he's got the army to do it, force fielding some of those Zealots. Doesn't actually trap them, just prevents those Stalkers from moving forward.
Would not be a bad idea here to pick off a couple of these Warp Gates here and limit the production of Yang, and he's taking those pot shots right now left and right. He drops the Guardian Shield, that's so helpful to deal with those Stalkers, and here we go, he will get that Warp Gate. Nice. Great tug of war right there, good decision making, and now the Yang very much limited.
Oh, he's pulling all his probes here. State needs to be careful. He's actually heading down ramp, and he's forced out of the main, so Yang takes position back at his main, but look at his army. I mean, the supplies right now, once again, just in State's favor. I mean, he's up 20 supply right now, and we're still on one base for both players. Here we have Yang trying to add 2 more gates to make up for that production discrepancy after losing one. But I don't know if that's going to be enough. I think he's so far behind that he's really got to do something drastic here to get back in this.
And this is one of those situations, Pain User, where I actually think State could expand safely. He's ahead, he's got map control, he's got more units. Why not grab that expansion? And we'll see if he decides to go and do that or not. Right now, he's bringing in another Warp Prism. This is a freshly brought in one, as the first one did die. And let's see what he can do. Warp Prism as he attacks the front army. Does some damage.
Observer goes down there for State. It was spotting the high ground. Goes down almost immediately, so you're not going to be able to see out there.
That is clever.
It certainly is.
You can actually drop on this little edge right here, and the Warp Prism can't be seen. Really, really nice. And there we go.
Hi. Oh, hi there.
Hi. I'm in your base.
Now we can get the position at the front again. I'll get that huge arc once he gets up the ramp if he decides to do so.
Oh, but there's a force field preventing, and he used his blink there, so you can't blink up the main until he gets that cooldown ready to go.
This is very interesting styles from these two players. I think State, you know, certainly getting the best of it right now, but ZeNEX.Yang, he's hanging in there. He's managed to keep his main alive. He has those 2 additional warp gates up. He's trying to harass State's main. State all over that. A couple zealots here. He's going to be able to do that on.
2 zealots coming in here. You can't blame Yang for trying. He's got to do something, man. I mean, he hasn't done any harass all game long, and, you know, let's look at the income tab. Surprisingly, State's not that far ahead as you'd like to see, but you know, he just grabbed the next one.
Yeah, also take a look at the army map. Imagine State's got a pretty good advantage there. Yeah, he does. His army's quite a bit larger.
Yeah.
Just straight up engagement. A lot of trouble here. Neither player getting any upgrades yet. We don't see any forges. Just sticking with pure. Oh, that poor Stalker.
I'm sure his days are numbered unless he gets that blink on top. Blink somewhere, but nowhere to go. Yeah, that Stalker's gonna go down. Meanwhile, the Warp Prism still waiting up here. You know, I'm kind of surprised that that State isn't being more aggressive with this Warp Prism. He could certainly drop more units off. There's no observer here. There's no air unit to protect the Warp Prism on the top of that cliff.
Yeah. Then again, I like that he's not getting too crazy with it. Every time he uses it, he loses 3 or 4 zealots.
Absolutely.
He's got to be careful. Stalker's going to get force fielded there. He blinks one out. State one engaged here.
Force fields there for a Stalker, which I don't think is a good trade for State, obviously, but
Ooh, State's
he does have a lot of
blinking
army.
into the main.
And he has that observer. He could go for this huge blink here. Do you think he's going to do it, Payne?
I think he might.
Oh, he
He's
could
gonna
pick the
off the
Immortal.
Immortal.
That's great.
Beautiful timing right there from
Oh, he's
State.
before.
That actually might actually. Yeah. Oh, leaves 2 Stalkers in the main.
No,
A bit of a mistake there.
Or maybe taking some losses and running away, because that core funds all Stalkers, and it could really hinder production for a while, but it would have been risky.
Yeah, can you make Immortals without a core?
No, you can't. I think you can.
You just can't make Stalkers?
Let's take a look. Yeah, you can make an Immortal, you just can't make Stalkers, but, you know, Stalkers are the core
Staple unit here, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, State's still up by that 20 supply, so he's managed to maintain his macro lead here. He has 4 Immortals now.
Yeah, let's take a look at that. It's pretty important. 4 State, half that amount of games, and range they now have, not only against Stalkers, but against possible Colossi as well. So that Immortal count is going to be a good thing to keep your eye on.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, the new Immortals are... It's interesting watching Immortal versus Colossus now. It's kind of changed PvP a little bit. Before, Colossus were obviously the way to go. I mean, you could just kite the Immortals all day and they would never take any damage.
Right.
But now, you know, yeah, the Immortals do have a fighting chance, and they kill Colossus so quick if you want to kill the volley off. But we do still see Protoss players in the late, and here we have State getting the range. Yeah, he's transferring over to Colossus here, and he's also getting the range, and I think that's great, because once you hit 3 or 4 Immortals, I think that's as many as you
Really need.
would need.
Yeah, I think their effectiveness diminishes, because you don't want to take up all that supply when you want Colossus too.
Well, and also they're just pigeonholed to armored units.
That got Payne blink from ZeNEX.Yang, who seems to have mustered up quite a large force. You know, ZeNEX.Yang with pretty good macros on the toes of State right now, behind by about 10 supply. This is getting really, really difficult. I'm not too sure who I can give the advantage to now, because ZeNEX.Yang is right back in this game. And I just wanted to build on what you were saying earlier before the battle goes down. We also sometimes see Protoss players putting their Immortals inside War Prisms and using that to shuttle the Immortals closer to the Colossi and picking off the Colossi as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that really just kind of negates the Immortals' immobility if you drop them right at the top. Oh! War Prism goes down there. Both players kind of just waiting around right now. We do have High Templar Tech, Templar Archives coming down. So he's not going to get Colossus. He's just going straight for that High Templar attack, and we'll have to see if he goes for
Archons?
Storm or Archons.
Yeah, I don't think it works often in PvP. I think Archons, there was a movement a few months ago where some Protoss players, and I forget which, were just using Charge on Archon.
Well, he does have Charge on the way. And he does have a couple Zealots. I don't think he has enough Zealots to really warrant
the Charge upgrade.
Well, I mean, how many does he have right now?
Actually, he's got a 9 Zealots. Not bad.
Yeah, he's probably going to warp in a lot more here and start spending that gas on High Templar.
It would be a great idea here for Yang, Yang to wait for that Charge upgrade to finish before attacking or defending. And State now taking control of the middle of the map, which grants him access to the gold. And this is a very rare situation.
Here we go. As you were saying?
A rare situation. 3-base Protoss in PvP.
Oh, just period?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It's not very often that we see 3-base, especially with gold here on Shatter. And, you know, given the current situations in this game, I feel like State's army is just going to rip Yang to pieces. Having those 3 Colossus and the lack thereof on Yang side, I mean, the damage output from those Colossus in this next huge fight is just going to be absolutely ridiculous.
I would tend to agree with that.
I really don't think the Archons are going to be the straw that broke the camel's back. They're not going to
Having said that, though, I have seen Charge on Archon work against Colossus, but the trick here is to have a Zerg mindset and get a good swarm around. And the advantage of going Charge on Archon is if you've got proxy pounds in the middle of the map, which you do, you can drop a bunch of Zealots as reinforcements, whereas Colossus take much longer to warp in. And so it's kind of this fast-paced, super aggressive style of PvP. I've seen it work. It's just really hard to pull off.
Yeah, and you need the economy to support it as well. And he's currently down a base here. He's just been focusing a lot on pretty much Just cut myself off. He's got 5 Colossus here. Is he building 2 Colossus at a time? 2 additional Colossus now. We're gonna go up into the 7s here. The 7s is not quite double digits. We're still on single digits, but when you're discussing Colossus, anything above 5 is just absolutely frightening.
Yeah,
terrifying. That's right, punk. I've got warp gates, but I'm still going to put my gateways in the middle of the map.
It'd be cute if you didn't even make these warp gates, because they're already here anyways. You just use them as gateways so they come out of the gate.
Oh, he's just
ready
going to
for battle,
standard
guys.
gateways. He's not even going to morph them.
Look at that Colossi count, man.
Oh, God.
Wow, here goes
we go.
Quad Guardian Shield.
But
no,
keep in mind,
Guardian Shield.
And keep in mind, State can just pick and choose where he wants to fight here because he's got the range. He can kite. He's the one that has all of the command right now in this situation. He decides when and where they fight, and it's up to Yang to just react every time, but his lack of range, not having any Colossus, just makes him so susceptible to State kind of picking him apart here.
Look at their, just wanted to go on a different train of thought here. Look at the low amount of probes they've got.
Yeah, it's crazy.
For 3 bases apiece, this really gives them more army.
It makes sense. I mean, the Protoss army is so strong and it's so difficult to...
Oh, here we go.
Yang
going in. He gets a good blink, but look at the laser rays coming out of that 7-9 to the east side on the field. Can't even count how many, but the Archons are up in the big stages here. And Yang getting a pretty good flank and surround here.
Oh, wow.
He might actually crush this Colossi army.
I don't know. The Colossus are doing so much damage.
That changed around.
Yeah, it really did.